Today I welcome our first speaker. He, by degree, is an architect. By profession, he is a college instructor, and he definitely knows the subject he will be speaking about today. I am able to call him friend, and I appreciate that. And so please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Patrick Molzahn.
Thank you, Doug, for that nice introduction. I have a great job. I have the honor to work with very talented, energetic young individuals. These are 4 members of my recent graduating class, and all of them, I can say, they're in high demand. They were all placed long before they graduated, but I'm thrilled to work with them. Of course, we hear the stories day in and day out. We have, where do I find workers? Where do I find skilled workers? We have 500,000 manufacturing jobs that have gone unfilled. In the next 5 years, we're looking to lose 1.5 million people from our manufacturing and craft trades. So we have a major dilemma upon us. But I do have some good news today. In my talk, I want to share the stories of 3 young individuals. All of them, when I initially talked to them, were 18. They're 19 now. Recent high school graduates, all going into the trades. So on the left we have Ethan, in the middle Daniel, on the right Nico, and today I'm going to share a little bit about their stories and process. All 3 are millennials. And when we hear that term, oftentimes we think of some stereotypical terms, sometimes true. We may think entitled. They like their social media. And some even say lazy. Okay? But today I'm going to dispel some of those stereotypes. Starting with Ethan. Ethan is from Blackfoot, Idaho. He is the U.S. World Skills Representative for cabinet making. So Ethan will be traveling to Kazan, Russia later this August to compete against the best in the world. To get there, Ethan had to win his state. So he competed in Skills USA, won Idaho as a state. He had a very good instructor that said, I'm not taking you to the national competition in Louisville unless your sole goal is to win. We're not going for second or third. You have to have that drive. So Ethan had the drive. He competed and he won in the national competition in skills. He then had to face off against 3 other individuals to win the honor to go to World Skills. Ethan has been training with us at my college in Madison since October. And so I've gotten to know him very well. He originally came and visited us a year ago, March, and we said to him that as part of the World Skills competition, he would have to do hand-cut dovetails. He says, I've never cut a hand-cut dovetail. So we showed him how to cut a dovetail. He went home, he practiced all summer, he watched videos, came back to us in October to train full-time. His dovetails were impeccable. He had the drive, he had the thirst to succeed. He had never done veneering. So we showed him how to do veneering. On the lower left is his first trial in veneering. It was a table he designed. It won him the honor to go to Germany to compete in World of Wood Day. Actually, it wasn't a competition, it was more of an exhibition. Through that experience, he now has friends all over the world, fellow woodworkers. So it's been quite an adventure and an honor to work with somebody who is so driven. I asked each of these individuals what inspired them, what motivates and sustains their interest, and where do they want to be in 5 years. For Ethan, he wants to own his own business, cabinet making, furniture, and I have no doubt that Ethan will succeed at his goal. My next individual is a student of mine, recently graduated, Daniel. Now, Daniel will tell you that the reason he got into woodworking is because he was lazy. When he was 15, about to turn 16, his mom told him, Daniel, you will either get a job this summer or you're going to have to work in the garden. Daniel didn't want to work in the garden. So he took out a map, created a 4-mile radius, and he looked for businesses in that 4 miles because he figured I could easily bike to work. He found a company in Madison, Brunzell Lumber and Millwork, that hired him, but Daniel wanted to work in their mill shop, but he was only 16, and you have to be 18 to operate power tools. So they put him in the yard, so for 2 summers, he loaded trucks, stocked, did things in a lumber yard. Finally, when he graduated high school, he was able to work in the mill shop. And this employer was a very forward-thinking employer. They said, we're going to pay you, our shop, but we're going to put $2 an hour aside into a scholarship fund. And we want you to attend the cabinet making program at Madison College. And if you succeed and you pass all your courses, we will pay the balance of your tuition provided you come back to work for us. So Daniel was very motivated. Out of a 1,000-hour program, he missed a total of 2 hours. Along the way, he found a love for CAD and design. And when I asked Daniel, where are you going to be in 5 years? He says, well, I'm going to work for this employer for at least 5 years, and then I'm going to reevaluate. Do I still want to be in the wood industry, or do I want to look at a different craft? So what a way to get a young man engaged and involved in our industry. My last individual is Nico. Nico, sorry to say, is not going into the wood industry, but Nico is studying to be an electrician. And Nico's motivation or inspiration is he, although he did good in school, he did not really care for school. He will tell you that the best day of school is the day his dad kept him home to re-roof the garage. He said he learned more in that day roofing the garage than he learned at a semester at school. In his high school, they have a very good construction program, so they exposed him, and through the discovery, he found he liked electrical. They also have a school-to-work program, so as a junior, he was able to find an employer and work for that employer during his summer year full-time, and then when school started up, he would work as part of his studies 5 hours a day for the electrical company. And then he, like I said, he didn't like school, didn't want to be in school, so he figured out that they also build a house, and so he joined that class, and so for the other 3 hours of the day, he was out building a house, doing hands-on work. The only requirement he had was an English class. He managed to get his English class online, so he proudly says, I didn't have to step foot in the high school during my senior year very much. Nico is going into a good trade and is succeeding very good at that. Because of his prior experience, he was given the opportunity to test out of the apprenticeship out of the first year. So this young man recently turned 19. He now has half of his apprenticeship completed. By 21, provided he completes his apprenticeship, will be a journeyman electrician. Nico likes his toys. So at 17, he bought that was his second truck. So he's going into a profession, and he lives in Tennessee, and he's able to afford these luxuries because his company is rewarding him very good for his efforts. When I asked Nico what he wants to be in 5 years or where he wants to be, he says he wants to be a superintendent. And he's been very good at working with his company. They have him on a training program to give him that knowledge and build his skills, and he wants to continue to work for this employer. And if you haven't figured it out by now, Nico is my son. So these three individuals, while I said millennials, they are kind of at the tail end of the millennial generation. We would technically call them Gen Z or the iGen. They like their phones. They've grown up with phones. They like their games on their phones. And sure enough, one night my iPad went missing, and I went looking for Nico. And not only did he have my iPad, but he was very busy working on his phone and his computer simultaneously. They are multitaskers, and they like that stimulation. Now, the great cathedral builders didn't have all these devices, and some could argue they were better off. They didn't have the distractions that we have in life. And they built great architecture. What they did have is foresight. When they built the cathedrals, it would take anywhere from 70 to 100 or more years. the first thing they would do is they would plant trees, because they knew that they were going to need the timber to build the rafters, and they knew that through time the wood was going to rot and would need to be replaced. And so by the time they got to that need, they had a forest growing around the cathedrals. The art of growing, or the act of growing, is a lot like education. We need to plant the seeds early. We need to nurture them, give them water, ample sunlight, fertilizer, so that ultimately we can reap the reward, whether it be a vegetable or a good worker in our workforce. The Woodwork Career Alliance has a credentialing system set up to encourage this development in our workforce, starting out at the beginning, starting in education, but also designed for industry. It provides a continuous training path and recognition for individuals to succeed. This is me doing an evaluation with one of my students. I incorporate the WCA skill standards into my curriculum, and so they get evaluated, and they get a base credential and encouragement as they go into industry to continue their credentialing process. The WCA has recognition, much like scouting, merit badges. This is my oldest son in his Eagle Court of Honor at the age of 13, and his merit badge sash with all his achievements. Everybody likes to be recognized, but particularly the generation coming up likes that recognition. And so the WCA has developed a method or series of patches to acknowledge skill levels. When I talk about credentialing, I always like to go back to ASE, Automotive Service Excellence. Credentialing system started in the 1970s. Now, when I was growing up in the 1970s, we didn't take our car to be repaired to an ASE technician. We took it over to Joe's shop down the road, also known as the Grease Monkey. Now, when we take our cars for servicing, we have some confidence when we go in and we see those ASE placards on the wall that the person working on it is trained and knows what they're doing. And also the status of their profession. I haven't heard a mechanic referred to as a grease monkey in years. What would that look like in our industry if, when we wanted woodwork, we went to a certified professional? Or we could say our shop has, all of our employees have been certified and verified that they have the skills necessary to do the work correctly. The WCA provides that path, inspires our youth, provides a professional career path, and it gives through the passport credentialing system, an online record of all the achievements. So when an individual goes to apply for a job, they can show that they were evaluated on specific machines and they have those skills. Both Ethan and Daniel are WCA members. They have their passports and are eager to fill them up with achievements. Of course, I've taken them through certification in my program, but now as professionals, they'll look to their employers to continue that credentialing path. So a little bit about the WCA. It is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. It's been around for 12 years now. It's organized in 2007. They have written standards for over 250 machine operations, specific woodworking operations. And they have currently over 2,500 individuals that have been credentialed in 18 states and 2 provinces of Canada. And the organization has over 120 schools that are education members. The WCA gets its support from sponsorships, both gold and silver sponsorships. We have in-kind support, we have association partners, and more importantly, we have education supporters. These are companies that realize the need to get their product in the hands of the next generation of woodworkers. So they provide their tools, their consumables, oftentimes for free. We have Franklin Adhesive sends every school 2 bottles of glue every year. Rockler sends a free care package. Some companies give discounts on their products, but this represents considerable value to a lot of high school programs. The WCA also has a growing list of manufacturing members. These are companies that are utilizing the WCA credentialing system to help define their training and reward their workers. So today we've talked about 3 individuals, Ethan, Daniel, and Nico. We talked about the art of growing and nurturing. So I ask you, what kind of carrots would you like? Would you like carrots that have been carefully tended, given ample sunlight, properly watered, thinned as needed? Or do you just want to take what walks through the door? Thank you.